All right, what we're doing here today is we're building a new vapor blast cabinet. If you clicked on this video, I assume you are familiar with vapor blasting, so I won't go into an explanation on that. Uh, we're not exactly building a new blast cabinet here. This is more of a repair to an existing cabinet. I built this cabinet about 13 years ago. It still works perfect, but time and Mother Nature have taken their toll on it, and as I'll show you here in just a minute, this cabinet has started to rust pretty bad on the inside, so it's just time for replacement. And all I'm really going to be doing here is just transferring all the components of this old unit into a new cabinet. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to show how to build one of these things. These things are really pretty simple machines. They're pretty easy to build, and they're pretty inexpensive. You'll see down here below I have about a 30-gallon plastic tub, and that tub holds two pumps, and those are really the heart of this machine. I will show you all that here in just a little bit. Now, I won't be using this tub in the new cabinet. This was just this tub was something I had laying around the shop all those years ago when I built this thing originally. And after doing a little online searching, I found out this tub is pretty expensive. These things are about $50 and not real readily available. So I've come up with a little better tub or tank alternative to use in the new unit. I'll show you that when the time comes. Actually, I will show you all the materials you'll need to build this thing from the ground up, including, I'll give you part numbers and prices whenever I can, and at least on like the big ticket items. Everything you're going to need to build this thing is pretty off the shelf items from just standard stuff from like Lowe's and Home Depot and Harbor Freight, your local hardware store. There are a couple of items I had to order from Amazon. I'll show you those here when the time comes. As we look inside the cabinet, you'll see the wear and tear on this thing after 13 years of use. I have to take partial blame for some of this rust inside here because when I first built this thing, I didn't take as much time as I should have to completely seal the inside. You can see the rust probably started deep down in the corners back in there, and it's just slowly worked its way up these side walls. And I didn't seal in those crevices and corners as well as I should have back then. But and if you look at the side walls, you can see that the rust has gone pretty deep now into that steel, and has actually gone through in a couple places, and there's a few pinholes that have gone all the way through to the outside of the unit. So if I blast for any extended period of time, I'll end up with water on the floor around the side of the cabinet. And then also, if you look at the shelf or the tray down here in the bottom, you can see it's pretty much about gone in the center. And if you look closer, you can see the Swiss cheese and that steel down there. I think in the new cabinet, I'm going to rough up the interior surfaces on the new parts and just hit them with some sandpaper, and then I'll probably prime them. And I think I'm going to spray them with a truck bed liner, see if that makes any difference. I understand the truck bed liner that they're selling out there now is paintable now. After you let it dry for a couple of days, you can paint it. So I think I'm going to hit it with the truck bed liner, and then after it dries, I'm going to hit it with some of that gray floor and deck enamel they sell out there. Stuff's been around forever. It's a Home Depot and Lowe's sells it. It's a really thick, oil-based, pretty foul-smelling stuff. I used to use it a lot back in the days on wooden decks and bare concrete floors and stuff. And I've actually used it myself many times in the past, and that stuff will stand up to pretty much anything. So I guess to get this thing started, I can give you a quick rundown on what it's going to cost to build this whole thing. This whole thing should cost you right about $400, and that's all inclusive. That is the cabinet, the two pumps, the tub down there below, and then you're going to have a foot pedal to control the air supply to the gun inside the cabinet. And then also, I've learned from personal experience for using this thing for years that a windshield wiper is a must-have on one of these things. I've tried all the different things. I've tried hooking up air blasters in there and water misting and all that. You have to have a windshield wiper on these things. So here's the windshield wiper motor. This thing's about $20, and then the arm and blade in there are about $12, I think. But anyway, after all those expenses, you're just gonna have a few incidentals. You're gonna have a few plumbing fittings and some hose clamps, a few feet of garden hose, and then a few other little bits and pieces. But like I said, you should be able to get the whole thing done for about $400. So for starters, I'm going to pull this tub out of here to show you what's going on in here. But before I pull it out, I have to forewarn you that it's going to be pretty grungy looking in here. You do have to clean these things out every once in a while. And that's really pretty easy to do. I'll show you how to do that too before too long here, how to clean them. But in anticipation of making this video, I really let this thing go a lot longer without a cleaning. I normally would have cleaned this thing out quite a while ago, but I kind of wanted to give you guys a little idea of what to expect after using one of these machines for a while. So what we have down here in the bottom, we have two Harbor Freight sump pumps. The one here on the left is the blender pump. Its only purpose is to keep the water and the glass bead constantly stirred or blended up down in the bottom down there into a slurry mix. The other pump here on the right is the feeder pump. It simply just feeds the slurry mix up through a hose and into the inside of the cabinet, into the gun. Now, when I transfer these pumps over to the new cabinet, I'll show you all the plumbing and hookups and everything required. It's all pretty basic stuff. And I'm sure there's probably a couple of guys out there already are wondering if a Harbor Freight sump pump will stand up to all of this. But all I can say to that is apparently yes, because these two pumps I'm using in here are still the two original ones I put in here 13 years ago. And they're still running just fine. I use this machine a lot. And they're holding up just fine. And I was actually concerned how well the impellers would stand up. Sitting down in a mixture of glass bead, slurry mix, and spinning at a constant 3,000 revolutions per minute, I just thought they're going to be getting sandblasted down in there. But apparently not, because so far so good. And they're still running just as well as the day I installed them. As a matter of fact, I think when I take these pumps out of here, I'm going to take them over to the workbench before I put them in the new cabinet and open them up. I'm going to open up the bottom of them and just kind of check inside of them. I want to see what the impellers actually look like after 13 years of use in these things. I'll show you that when I get to it. I've actually always assumed these things had plastic impellers in them, but I don't know. They may be stainless steel. I guess I'll find that out when I open it up. But anyway, down here in the bottom of the tub, we have the mixture of water and glass bead. And I'll talk about the mixture or the ratio of glass bead to water a little bit later on. So I guess enough talk. Let's build a cabinet. I'm going to start with the tub or this tank that sits below the cabinet. That's going to hold your slurry mix and your tanks. Your pumps. This is a 55-gallon plastic barrel. And you're going to be able to find these things on your local Craigslist. These barrels are everywhere. And you can pick them up anywhere from like $2 to $5 or $10. Or I think the most expensive one you'll ever see is going to be like $15. Just hit your local Craigslist and search for plastic barrel or blue barrel or 55-gallon drum or something along those lines. And you'll find out these things are everywhere and you shouldn't have any trouble at all getting a hold of one.